Homecoming week, already bowl eligible. How fired up are you for what's ahead of you this week?
Well, a huge challenge. Obviously, with Hawaii coming to town and their record and what they've done, I think they were the first team in the conference to be bowl eligible. So, very explosive offense, top passer in the conference, #1 receiver in the nation. So, we have to have a really good week of practice, and it's exciting, to be able to come home, obviously, but we have a big job for sure.
What were you most pleased with Saturday in New Mexico? I mean, there are a lot of things that went right, but what got you the most excited or satisfied?
Just that we won. That's always the goal, going there and playing together as a team, and but there's a lot of things we can improve on. Typically coming away from those things, you're happy that you win, but there's a lot of things where we can get better. We had some penalties and some situations that we can clean up. A little bit of focus, just with some false starts on 3rd and 3 and down on the 4-yard line, those type of things. But those things we can clean up, and so typically come out of those things, talking about the things we did well with the team, to gain confidence from it. But again, there's a lot of things where we can improve.
Did you notice a difference in Ronnie Rivers this game as far as his explosiveness compared to the first few games working himself back in?
Not really. I see Ronnie every day, though. It's so he seemed to be himself to me. Obviously coming back in your very first game, since you didn't go through camp and you didn't do anything like that, you got to knock a little bit of the rust off, which I'm sure he did. But he seemed like Ronnie to me.
And your offensive line, it would be easy for people to forget you lost what a lot of people thought was your best offensive lineman week 2, and then just a couple weeks ago you made a shift where you have really 3 guys starting in relatively new positions. To have them give up 1 sack early and then nothing else and establish the run game the way they did, how much does that say about those young men and what they're doing?
Well, they're doing a nice job, and Coach Grubb does a great job of coaching those guys. Really, the sack last week was on a quarterback draw, so it wasn't really a sack. He was trying to run the ball up in there and got tackled behind the line of scrimmage. But I thought they did a nice job against a group who'd been getting after the passer pretty well, and and created some lanes in the run game. So. I think they're working hard, and Coach Grubb does a nice job of coaching them. They play hard, but we can continue to improve up there.
Was your defense a little upset that somebody scored a touchdown against them finally? You're only giving up 4 points a game in conference play, and that's the first touchdown since the Toledo game.
Yeah, the standards are high. We have to be careful about that, that can be good and bad, in that you make the standard so high for yourself that, if you give up a touchdown, you got to make sure that you bounce back. And, there's a lot been said about it. And while the guys are playing hard, we have to know if that happens, that's a temporary setback. We got to move on, and which we did. I thought we did a good job of that. But there are high standards there, and that's good. But we have to understand, you can't be crushed if somebody scores a touchdown.
Coach, your team's receiving most votes in the AP polls received all year. Kirk Herbstreit made some comments about your Bulldogs on College Game Day. I'm wondering if you have any sort of conversation with the guys about kind of getting this national attention that they're all of a sudden getting.
No, because we talk about it generally, not necessarily national attention or what have you. It's just in general terms of what we have to do from week to week to stay focused on things, to stay away from distractions, and which with social media and everybody else, and their family, their friends, whatever, patting them on the back, it's really important that we stay grounded and not pay attention to the outside stuff, be it good or bad.
Coach, Hawaii's offense and the run and shoots, can you expound a little bit upon what you have already seen, what you expect to see, and also talk about the quarterback and that wide receiver who's got 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns? How explosive is this offense?
Well, it's very explosive, obviously. For those guys to be putting up the numbers that they've put up, They know what they're doing. Seems like they're on the same page. The quarterback is very accurate throwing the ball. Their offensive line does a nice job of protecting him, and they spread you out. And it's not only throwing the ball. If they spread you out, and they can run it up inside with a big back. And so you can't overly commit to the pass game 100%, or they'll hurt you in the run game. But the quarterback is very accurate. He's also athletic, where he can scramble and move and extend the play, and the receivers are very good at what they do. Number one receiver in the country as far as yards and touchdowns. So they're very productive, and it's going to be a tall order. But it's really important for those guys to be on the same page, because the run and shoot is a lot of read and react type stuff. But they're very good at what they do. There's no doubt about it. I think the numbers prove that.
Coach, Fresno State had to see a variation of the run and shoot for about a decade in the 2000s. Does this offense compare to a program you've seen in the past?
I can't really remember last time played someone like this, as far as besides last year. I mean, they're the same team as they were last year type stuff, so but yeah, I think they've improved a lot, and they got a lot of really good players, and it can be explosive. There's a lot of windows in there that they throw to, and they get open a lot, and so the main thing is you really can't give up a lot of big plays. They're going to make some yards, and they're going to do things like that, because they're very good at what they do. But hopefully we can limit the explosion plays.
A couple of weeks back, Hawaii tried to disguise their injured quarterback by putting another player in his uniform for pregame warmups. Have you had a team or opposed a different team that's done anything that compares to that?
No, I can't remember that. Anything like that.
With that and the amount of fourth downs that Coach Rolovich is willing to go for, does that change your approach, the way that this game might be different field position-wise?
No, it doesn't. No. I mean, if they go for it on fourth down, it's just like any other down. We gotta get off the field, and you got to play the next down. But it doesn't really, it depends. Is it 4th and 8? Is it 4th and 2? Is it 4th and 1? It depends, on what the situation is. But you just got to play whatever the down and distance is, and if the offense is on the field, you have to be ready for anything. So not really. It doesn't change anything that we're going to do.
We've seen the Wildcat a little bit more these recently. How do you think that's helped diversify the offense a little bit?
For us, you're talking about? It's just a wrinkle that we have, and so something we carry from game to game. If we use it, we use it. If not, we don't. But, I think it gives you a little bit of a dimension of being able to be multiple with the ball, and whether we get it outside or get up inside and help create some numbers, really is why people use that, is to create an extra hat in the box. And, that's really what it's used for. And, we'll see from week to week, whether we have it. You've seen it before, and we have it, but it depends if it matches up this week.
Coach Nick Rolovich, he was an OC at Nevada, comes back to his alma mater as a head coach. It's his 3rd year. How impressed are you with what he's been able to do at Hawaii?
He's done a really nice job. I have a lot of respect for him and what he's done there. And, like I said, they won 6 games early, and very impressive. So he got those guys playing really hard, in all phases of the game. It's not just their offense. Their defense plays really hard and really runs well to the ball. And, have a lot of respect for him. He's done a nice job.
Homecoming weekend, obviously, these guys are going to be a little bit more hyped. How do you keep them, the energy level up, but also focused on the game?
Well, the energy level, I'm not sure, because it's homecoming, we're going to be more jacked up. I think, just because we're coming home and it's our opportunity to play this week against a great football team. And, that's what should excite us. Now, obviously the fans, hopefully we have a good turnout, because that always brings energy, and we try to go into every game the same, really with the same focus, no matter where it is. But you know, I think we really do feed off our crowd. You know, when our crowd's there and into it, I think it creates an extra spark to us.
You mentioned John Ursua a little bit and his incredible numbers so far this year. They didn't have him last year. He was hurt. Obviously, McDonald wasn't playing yet. How different is this offense when you look at it on film as far as the explosive ability and the potency of that Hawaii offense?
Yeah, well, I thought they did a good job last year as well, and now you know, you had that receiver into the mix, and the quarterback is doing a great job. So, you know, I don't know how much more you can say how explosive they are. I mean, the numbers prove it, you know, and they have like I said, a big back that's hard to bring down, and you know, they protect their quarterback well, and he gets rid of the football, and he's very accurate. And you know, it's not just that one receiver. Obviously, he's a big part of what they do, but they spread it around really well, and you know, it's difficult to defend. And so, like I said, they're going to make their yards. You know, we just, you know, we're really going to try to limit a little bit what they do, hopefully, you know, and but they're going to make their plays. They're just really efficient at what they do.
I'm sure you guys will keep an eye on Jeff Allison all week, and I'm sure everybody expects him to be a warrior and be out there. But some have asked, because he hurt his shoulder in the fourth quarter when the game seemed to be in hand, why is he in there? Is part of that because eventually you're going to play a game where you need all your starters in for 4 quarters, and you need them to have that endurance and that test?
Yeah, well, that was the last series that they were going to play, and then we made a wholesale change after that. You know, but he should be fine. You know, he was in good spirits. He was in great spirits yesterday and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's an issue.
And he, I know you're not on Twitter a ton, so you might not have seen this, but he tweeted out that he needs to see Bulldog Stadium full on Saturday. How much would that mean to you and your players if you saw no empty seats and the place packed for Fresno State and Hawaii?
Well, that would be great. You know, it really would. And like I said, our players feed off of that. I think it'd bring great energy to our team. But our job is to go play. You know, I mean, that's our job, and we try to do our best to put a product on the field that fans can enjoy and people can be proud of. And so that's what we're going to try our best to do. And hopefully the fans will come out and make it difficult on Hawaii, you know, because that's what you have to prepare for. You know, when you go on the road, there's a lot of times that, you know, it's going to be difficult because it's going to be loud, and so I hope we can create that environment, make it a little bit more difficult, help our defense out against their offense.
And I know you're worried about what's between the lines, but there will be eyeballs on this game. It's on ESPN2, national TV. More and more people are talking about you. You're getting more votes in the polls. If people are looking at your team under that microscope and trying to evaluate you as to how good you are nationally, what are the things you hope they see and say about your team after watching you?
Well, it really doesn't change, you know. I mean, it's, you know, I hope we play the same way all the time. You know, it doesn't matter about, I mean, I think it's great that the audience sees us on ESPN2 or whatever, but that shouldn't make any difference how we prepare, how we play, how we practice. You know, we can't go up and down like that. You know, it's, you know, we have to stay consistent, and, you know, I just hope that they see the same team that we always strive to be, and that's a disciplined team that flies around and plays good football and executes what we're trying to get done, you know. And so I don't think anything's ever going to be perfect, but we work hard to keep a high standard, and I hope that's what people see.
And you talked a lot about the Hawaii offense, and that's what most people talk about. But on the defensive side of the ball, are there some things that stand out to you that you know you're going to have to deal with on Saturday?
Yeah, always. You know, every week it's a different matchup, you know, and it's not a one-dimensional team by any means. Those guys play really hard, and they're physical up front, and they run to the ball really well. And, you know, so, I mean, they're a good team. You know, they won a lot of games, and that didn't happen by just being one-sided. They play good team football.
Any final questions from the group here?
At this point in the season, is there any one thing with your defense that has surprised you or has exceeded expectations?
No, Not really. I mean, we work hard every day to try to, like I said, keep a high standard and practice. You know, the main thing is trying to take the fundamentals and techniques from the practice field to the game field. And, you know, we do that most of the time. There's still areas where we can improve. There's no doubt about it, and we got to keep practicing that. And you know, but I don't think there's really necessarily a surprise. It's what we try to get done, but there's still room for improvement for sure.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you.